Today in History. Today, it's May 9th, and we're going to continue with our journey to the past.
We certainly are. We have two events to share with our listeners today, but first here is my quiz question. One of the most widespread superstitions, a symbol for bad luck, is, number one, December 25th, or number two, Friday the 13th. One more time. One of the most widespread superstitions, a symbol for bad luck, is... number one, December 25th, or number two, Friday the 13th. Okay, if you do know the answer, not too tough today, I hope. If you know the answer, put it on our Bundy board or text in pounder sharp 1045 for 51, and you could win a Muson mouse.
That's right. And like Steve has just briefly mentioned, we are going to be talking about two main items today. And here's the list.
Today in history. In 1874, archaeologist Howard Carter was born, and in 1980, the film Friday the 13th premiered.
1873년 바로 오늘입니다. 5월 9일에 그 영국의 유명한 고고학자이자 이집트의 역사를 전문으로 하고 있는 학자 하워드 카터가 출생한 날이기도 하고요. 1980년 5월 9일 오늘 그 영화 유명한 영화죠. 13일의 금요일 Friday the 13th 이 영화가 개봉한 날이기도 한데 자 우리나라에서는 이걸 13일 하고 날짜를 먼저 말하고 요일을 뒤에 말하는 것이 좀 흔하거든요. 13일 금요일 the date comes first before the day of the week. In English, it's the opposite, actually. You say the day of the week first, and then you say the date.
Exactly.
네.
Strange that film wouldn't have premiered on Friday the 13th
그러니까.
of some month, right? You figured they would just wait for it to match up and release it on that day.
모두 제작자분들이 빨리 하라고도 그랬을 것이고 it must have been quite difficult for them to match the date, really.
Maybe it was too far away, yeah.
네. Okay, so let's begin today's journey to the past with the birth of the man who put thousands of years of Egyptian history back in the spotlight.
We're talking about English archaeologist and Egyptologist Howard Carter, who was born on this day in 1874.
He was best known for the discovery of King Tutankhamun's tomb, a source of many legends, stories, and even superstitions.
Among them is the infamous Curse of the Mummy, one of the most popular themes for Hollywood horror movies.
Right. 자, 지금 Pharaoh's Curse라고 되어 있는 저 지금 장면을 Today in History 지금 보이는 라디오에서 보여드리고 있습니다. And this curse, 이제 이 저주로 말할 것 같으면, as well as superstitions linked to the tombs of pharaohs, can be traced all the way back to that moment in 1922 when Carter himself opened King Tut's tomb in the Valley of the Kings.
Now, by cracking open the first hole on the tomb's wall to peek inside, he discovered not only the best preserved collection of Egyptian relics in history, but also unleashed a global sensation for ancient Egypt.
Wow. 그러니까
You can see the newspaper headlines
wow,
there.
there's a huge news coverage back then. Yes. 그 왕의 무덤에 벽에 작은 구멍을 뚫고 그 안을 들여다 보니까 잘 보존된 이집트 유물과 함께 그 어마어마한 그 돌풍을 일으키게 될 촉매제가 들어 있었다. 뭐 이렇게 얘기하고 있네요. And this sensation started with the sometimes mysterious deaths of a few members of Howard Carter's team and other prominent visitors to the tomb shortly thereafter. Just like in a movie, you know?
Look at the headline there on the right from the Detroit newspaper. Tombs digging to go on despite curse of Egypt.
그렇죠. 왜 그 성스러운 이집트의 왕족의 무덤을 들여다보았느냐라고 해서 그다음부터는 이제 그 원분들의 그 카터가 이끌고 간 팀원들이 의문사를 당한다든지 이런 일이 이어졌다고 합니다. And you know what? One of them was Lord Carnarvon, sponsor for the expedition and part of Carter's team.
Right, so what happened to him was he died 6 weeks after the tomb was opened, and although later on it was proven that he died of blood poisoning, his death prompted many sensationalist headlines as well as many hypotheses and rumors.
And one of the people who contributed to this frenzy was Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, the famous creator of Sherlock Holmes, and who suggested that Lord Carnarvon's death had been caused by elementals created by Tutankhamun's priests to guard the royal tomb.
Carter's opening of King Tut's tomb sparked not only interest in archaeology, but also opened the doors to modern Egyptology, or the study of ancient Egyptian history, language, literature, religion, architecture, and art, thus making Carter the first modern Egyptologist.
야, 대단합니다. 자, 마치 영화 얘기가 그대로 현실에서 나타난 것 같네요. And now, if mummies dominated the legends from ancient Egypt, the following movie also became the source of many urban legends, not to mention that it reshaped the horror movie genre.
Certainly, it was on this day that the movie Friday the 13th premiered in 1980, and although it wasn't received positively in the beginning, it developed a cult in the years that followed, becoming one of the most profitable horror movies. That was a slip of the tongue. We learned that expression recently,
yes, we
didn't we? Profitable horror movies in history.
네. 자, 지금 영화 포스터 보이는 라디오 통해서 보여드리고 있습니다. 맞아, 옛날에 나 저거 본 기억 있었지 한 분들 많이 계실 것 같아요. Friday the 13th as a franchise is now comprised of 12 films, a TV show, novels, comic books, and merchandise. One of the most successful media franchises in America.
Absolutely. The popularity of Friday the 13th is such that Jason, the main protagonist of the series, is widely imitated and featured as a cultural reference, with his hockey mask becoming one of the most recognizable images in popular culture.
But why Friday the 13th, you might wonder? What does that mean? Well, it is none other than the most widespread superstition in North America as well as other parts of the world. But in some parts, there are equivalents. In Latin America, it is not Friday, but Tuesday. And in Italy, it is Friday, but not 13th, but the 17th.
Interesting. Yes, but back to Friday the 13th, the sixth day of the week. Friday and the number 13 have been both believed to bring bad luck and misfortune since ancient times. Some people refuse to go to work on Friday the 13th. Some won't eat in restaurants. Many wouldn't think of setting a wedding on that date. Oh, no, I don't think I'd put a wedding on Friday the 13th. There's even a phobia of Friday the 13th. It's called frigatriskaidekaphobia.
또 그런 말도 있네요. 아니, 자네 오늘 왜 출근 안 하나? 오늘 13일에 금요일이라서는 출근할 수 없습니다. 이렇게 말한다면 that's not a very good excuse.
Yeah.
Okay, 자, Friday the 13th 이 영화의 개봉일이 바로 1980년 5월 9일이었다는 그런 또 소식까지 전해드렸네요. Okay, so that's it for today in history.
Oh, by the way, so you don't believe in that Friday the 13th superstition?
Not very much because I already have pretty much a set schedule.
Oh, okay.
So how can I possibly have a day off just because it's Friday 13th?
I am a little bit, actually, a little tiny bit. I wouldn't take a day off, but I'm a little more careful on Friday the 13th, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Like Santinim said, that's it for today in history. But the answer to the quiz question first, one of the most widespread superstitions, a symbol for bad luck, is number 2, Friday the 13th. Okay, good stuff. We'll go to this break. When we come back, it's travel notes time. Steve Miller joins us in the studio. First, enjoy this from Crowded House. Don't dream it's over.